here's the most important thing, media theme. This is an open source project. You can check out all the details here, examples, whatever. What is this and why do we have this? Well, the inspiration came from our public Orchard SaaS .Nest. If you don't know it, this is where you can sign up and get an Orchard Core site or an Orchard One website actually with 2 clicks. It's for everyone. We don't vet who is signing up. So it should be safe and it should be limited. But still, we want people to be able to have their sites as flexible as possible. And of course, there are a lot of built-in features in Orchard for that. So you can do a lot from the admin. One of the things you can do from the admin as well in a limited fashion is theming. So there's the templates module. If the developer or the operator of the application allows it, then you can also upload CSS files and you can do all kinds of tricks to actually include them. So in the end, you can adjust the styling of your website. But we wanted to have something closer to the usual developer experience. That is, pretty much create a theme for your .NET site with the help of media theme for a tenant in a SaaS. And that's what media theming is about. We have a documentation page about that here. Well, it's not much because it only links to various other resources. Most importantly, the SDK. So this is what I will use to demonstrate how it works. I think it's pretty cool. We also have automatic deployments, either from the command line or from a GitHub Actions action, if you will. So I will show that on the example of my new personal website. We could also call it a sort of blog. It's not important, but I have set up everything for it locally, and I actually used media theming to adjust a couple of things because, well, as you can see, this is pretty much the blog theme and recipe. I didn't really care about the design, but I did adjust a couple of things. Namely, I added a favicon. I added a little bit of CSS on every page. I adjusted the templates or shape template overrides that drive these summaries and these details as well. Namely, I'm using not Markdown body parts for blog posts, but HTML body parts. So for them to be able to display properly here, the template needed to be changed. I also removed the posted by username here because, well, everything is posted by me, so it's not really necessary. So I will now change some code on this website and get it in Visual Studio, push it to a repository, and get it deployed automatically. So we actually have, this is not the Visual Studio instance that I wanted, but this one. Let me clean this up a bit. Yeah, this one. So I have a Visual Studio instance here. As you can see, it's an Orchard solution. Well, probably you can't see because there's not much telling here, but it looks similar to an Orchard solution. It uses a web application that imports everything necessary for Orchard. So yeah, all the Orchard core packages, the basic packages, and also commerce, because we are using that on .NEST. So everything is added here that's available on .NEST. And I also have a theme project here, which is pretty much a standard theme. There are limitations on what you can do here. Namely, you need to use liquid templates, and these liquid templates also need to be named like shapes. So not like the files, but the shape types. So not like content dash. Sorry, dash, is it called dash? Yeah, I think it's called. So not content dash blog post, but content underscore blog post. But that's pretty much the limitation. Otherwise, it's a usual theme. It can contain recipes, it can contain whatever you want in the web root folder. And of course, you can also use all kinds of client-side build pipelines, like building SaaS to CSS or anything else. That doesn't really matter. I'm not using it here because the CSS is just this. So not really necessary to have any client-side pipeline for this. But I have the layout liquid template here, for example. So let's change this. The application is actually running locally here. So if I go back to the browser, you see that I have the same thing now on localhost. I exported everything from my .NET site to have the same content in a recipe here. So let's do some time change here. I will just add a hello here. Save, and of course it works. Fantastic. That's not the highlight of the demo yet. Now let me also deploy it. So let's suppose that we did our changes. Now we want to deploy it to the production site. How you do that is there's a command line tool that you can use to create a pretty much zip file that then you upload, or you can use automatic deployments. This is the clone of the repository that I have for my personal websites on DotNest. It's a fork of the DotNest Core SDK, and I will just commit this. Something like dummy template change and push. Now what happens next is that in the repository of this, under the actions, the GitHub Actions automation, builds are kicked off. There's a normal build, not that interesting. What's more interesting is that there's also this deploy media theme build. The only thing interesting that it does, apart from the boilerplate and setup, is that it installs a command line tool called lombiq.hosting.mediatheme.deployer, and it generates a deployment package from the theme and pushes it to the site. This uses remote deployment behind the scenes, so it uses the built-in Orchard features. It does a remote import on the target site. So now, if I go back to the production site and do a refresh, we should see, after a little bit of delay since the tenant is restarting, that we should be able to see the change, and that indeed happened. Now, let me go here and quickly revert this, because, well, we don't really need that on the production side. And that's the basic user experience. It's you fork the SDK, or otherwise you work with an Orchard-based solution where you create a more or less normal theme. It just needs to use Liquid, which is normal Liquid. There are a couple of other rules. Well, probably just one other rule that you have to adhere to about referencing static resources. But everything else will automatically just work. And when you are happy, you can either create an import package by using a .NET tool, a command line tool that you have created, or you can also use the same command line tool to deploy remotely. Use remote deployment, the remote deployment feature of Orchard, to import the same package on your production site. Or you can also build or use the GitHub Actions reusable workflow that we make available, and have everything done automatically in like 10 seconds. And now we should go back. We should be back to the without hello version. Yes, it still works. So this is it. If you're interested in the code, it's up on GitHub open source. If you like to try it out in your own SaaS, feel free. If you have questions, let me know either now or on GitHub. And if you like to have a .NET site and use this, well, just sign up.